All right, we got some strength here in crypto markets today, catching up as stocks take a little bit of a breather. So the bulls play musical chairs. Phil Streible, chief market strategist at Blue Line Futures, here with us for a Friday hit before he heads to the beach. What's up, Phil?
Hey, how's it going, man? Yeah, so it's a good week in the markets altogether. I think that really a lot of these markets caught fire on some, the commodity super cycles underway. You got a lot of buying in some of the meme stocks. You had the AMC, you had GameStop both taking off. And the reality is though, when they start doing offerings and things like that, some cold water got thrown on those rallies. And those traders that are chasing momentum got to find places to park their money. So naturally, the next day, we saw Bitcoin up about $4,000. We're up about 2.5% here today. And I think that we could be punching through the 50-day moving average, about 67,900. We get over 70, parties on. Ethereum, it's closer to like 3350 would be the breakout point, and then we'd be targeting something like 4100.
Okay, you said 67.9. Run me through those numbers again for BTC, Phil, because that's what I've been watching here somewhere around there, because stocks have been making a highs. Bitcoin's been a little slower. Where do you think it kicks in?
67,900. It's the 50-day moving average. We get a close above that. I think we could start targeting the 70,000. A real breakout points like 71, 72, and then the party's on. Then it's just going to take off like a rocket, in my opinion. Ethereum, like I was saying, about $3,350. That's really the breakout. Could target the 4,100 level. That story, though, it's in the back burner right now. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on here. So you got the precious metals; those really caught fire here today.
Yeah, kind of stealing some of the momentum spotlight. This copper story. What do you think about that? I mean, do you trade that often? How do you approach that?
Oh, we love the copper market. I mean, China, they had their industrial production figures came out. They rose faster than expected. China remains the #1 consumer of copper, and with 54% of silver demand coming from industrial sources or industrial uses, we're seeing like a perfect storm take place. So it's increased electrical power use because of the green energy revolution. It's rising demand for electric vehicles. Everyone's got to plug these things in. The advancements in AI is really stressing these computers. I don't know about you, but my phone is smoking every day because I've got this Meta AI going in the background, Grammarly AI, everything else. And all this stuff is straining that out-of-date electrical grid. And this combination, pushes copper, silver, and other metallic metals higher for the first time in a decade. And it also comes at a time when there's increased regulation on mining activity, so it makes it harder for these miners to bring that additional supply to fulfill those demand needs. And then again, it's a momentum story. Look at prices breaking out here today.
So you think this is kind of like secular demand building up copper-wise, so that would be a little bit more of a positive version generally than just like a massive reflationary force. Do you believe that any of this has backfire potential on the inflation story?
I mean, obviously it does. And I think that's why they keep asking Jerome Powell, hey, do we see an interest rate hike in the cards? I mean, despite what Fed officials have been saying, I mean, interest rates are going to stay higher for longer. But there are some economic cracks that are forming. So we saw the miss in the payroll data, the rising initial claims. The Federal Reserve will ultimately have no choice, but they're going to have to bite the bullet and cut rates sooner. So you got cracks in the economy, but rising inflation. I mean, that's a stagflationary type period. And something I want to identify in the gold market is that dating back to 1990, studies have indicated that gold futures have popped 6% within the first 30 days after the first interest rate cut in a hiking cycle. So we get that first cut. What I'm saying is we could see another wave higher in a lot of these different commodities.
All right, so if you had to either do the gold or the Bitcoin trade right now, I guess we could throw copper in. What's the momentum for the next 10 days here?
I think silver's the one to be at. I mean, look at silver today, up $1.80. We blasted through $30. We're at $31.50 right now, up $1.70. So I look back from 2011. Last time we were at this level, we were at $32. That was February 14th. We went on a 10-week rally in silver to get it up to $50, and the average true range was about $2.50 a week, $2.50 a week, and then it exploded, $5, $5, $5. I mean, that's game-changing money there for people if they can catch that kind of momentum higher. But remember, it is a double-edged sword. We saw people sticking with that silver trade. That thing absolutely collapsed after that. So you get, any kind of breakdown, Chinese economic data, you get tightening out of the Fed, hawkishness coming out, and you get the margin requirements being raised up. It could be a setup for disaster. So risk management, position sizing, and things like that, keeping a cool head when you're trading these kind of momentum trades.
I noticed your tone on the macro a little bit more kind of cautious than some of our conversations the last couple months. It seems like you want to be in these momentum trades, but you're wary that if anything goes awry, like we could be on a more fractured surface economically right now.
110%. That's what the weekends are for. The weekends are really getting in there because you don't have the distraction of the markets moving. You get in there, you look underneath the hood, you see what's going on. How is the economy performing? What are the areas of weakness? What is the Fed most focused on? What is China most focused on? They saw a great industrial production figure, but they also saw weaker retail sales, which means that the consumer itself is under a lot of pressure, and they might have to step in and provide some assistance. So it's really just digesting. Whether it's a commodity, a stock, a company, you got to break in what's underneath the hood and really dive into it.
All right. Weekends for the deep dive. I thought weekends were for the boys, Phil. But hey, as you say, hey, what's that shirt? You got, what is that? Is that a GameStop shirt or is it Grand Theft Auto?
Wall Street Bets, baby. We're back, all right? Back.
Well, last time your indicator of what was it, trading irresponsibly or whatever?
Irresponsibly long crypto.
Irresponsibly long. All right. Well, that woke up the meme stocks, I think. Thanks, Phil. Have a great weekend, sir.
You too.
All right. Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. All right. Let's check in.